just love to talk about love. Peace and blessings, everyone tuning in. You are listening to the Reverend and High Priestess, Thema, Azize, Serwa. I am the visionary of the womb sauna and our movement to let the womb be heard all throughout the world. And I feel compelled to talk about loving with detachment, because I know I've posted a few other conversations about unconditional love, the illusions we have about love, and I'm very clear in my mind when I speak about my truth about unconditional love that it comes with boundaries. Love is not the kind of energy that lets people get away with things outside of divine order. When love is present, it holds people accountable. It does bring a vibration of boundaries. What I think we need to talk about more is how we decide to show up with love. Because the only thing that I think is shifting in our awareness right now is that love is a choice. And how you make the decision to release it, embody it, be a vessel of it, should be based upon your truth and not something too external. So, for example, when we begin to think and say, I will love if you show up this way or this, or we start quantifying love as something that, you have to earn, that's when we start building in those subconscious conditions around it. Why can't your love flow the way it needs to flow freely, just simply because that is who you are? And you have recognized that no matter what, nothing that shows up in your life can control your destiny but you. This was a big turning point for me because I grew up thinking that whoever I chose as my life partner, as my husband, how they showed up, I used to believe that in some way affected my destiny. And when you think like that, you give your power away to whoever you're relating to. You're literally dividing up your ashe and saying, here, take this portion of it. Because I really believe that just because you don't make as much money as I need you to, or just because you're not as emotionally communicative as I want you to be, or just because you are struggling with your self-identity, that's going to ruin my future. So deuces, I'm out. Because I don't believe in your evolution. And I really think that if you're not moving forward on my timeline or my schedule, that my life in some way, shape, or form will be negatively impacted. And when I hear that, and when I recall thinking those things, it was weak. It was a wimpy consciousness. And it did an injustice to the power of love, which is one of the most potent energies on the planet. So then I started saying stuff to myself like, okay, Thema, what can you replace that with? My love is potent, powerful, and transformative. My love is polarizing. It can be an interruption to everything that's not working right in my environment and to anyone who is connected to me. My love runs deep. It is divine. It can never be not enough because it comes from a source in the universe that is abundant. And my love is my decision. And I don't let how other people behave, think, or show up dictate who I am, and I am love. So I started saying this stuff to myself, but let me tell you, then you get tested about your truth, it feels like sometimes, because it's not easy to walk that out. I didn't realize how deeply embedded in my consciousness was this truth that how somebody else showed up would somehow negatively affect my destiny. And I have been learning how to take my power back and own my destiny. So yeah, it's my preference to, when it comes to my love life, see certain things in my mate, see progress. Yeah, all of that. It's good to desire all of that and to try to come up with ways to cultivate it outside of the scope of control. What does that have to do with love and how you show up? If your partner never gets to your level and way of being, because maybe you are called to be the way shower in the experience, how are you going to let love flow? And if the experience is complete, how are you going to let go of resentment and the need to somehow find that person at fault for the years of time you've invested in the experience? And stop saying that the experience slowed you down or took time away from your life, but actually decide that the experience served you well and helped you become the amazing person you are today. When I say love with detachment, what I want you to detach from is your ego, because it's your ego that comes up with all of these illusions. It's your ego that makes you shift into fear, judgment. I can tell you the time that I've heard people be the most judgmental is with matters of their heart. Because somehow we find being vulnerable something that is a gift, something that only somebody who's earned the right into a certain space in our heart should have access to. When vulnerability is powerful. And if you can walk around the planet not caring what nobody thinks about you and be wide open just because you've reached a place of that deep self-acceptance that you can be that, you'll be one of the most powerful people on this planet. Why don't we see it that way? Why do we deny love and come up with these fancy arguments on why somebody is not worthy of our love? God, if the divine dealt with me that way, I would not be alive today. I'm still on my campaign around love. I believe it is the most powerful, potent, healing force on the planet. I think it begins with you, and as you give it to yourself, it can overflow and pour out to others. And I think that it should, simply because that's who you are. I don't think people should have to work for your love. That tells me your love is in partnership with your ego. But when you are connected to a source bigger than you, it doesn't cost you anything to share your overflow of what you receive from spirit. So I just want to share that because I think it's part of the work of this age. And I think it's time for us to get clear that if we want to see a different relationship dynamic, especially in love relationships, intimate relationships, romantic, if you will, we gotta evolve our consciousness around love and what it really is about. And there are moments where it's uncomfortable, but that's part of the journey. That's part of what causes us to grow. And we have unrealistic expectations. If you get with somebody who is just like you, one of you is not needed. So this conversation of if he or she doesn't show up the way I am, it's not for me. That's not what you need. How about that? And maybe that's why the universe is not sending you your clone. Because maybe the lesson for you, as it was for me, is to learn how to love someone very different than yourself, just because your capacity is that great. So yes, Listen to some of the other videos on our YouTube channel that I have about love. Subscribe and comment. Give some feedback. Let me know what this conversation provokes in your mind, in your heart. And let me know if you feel like you need support. I do one-on-one consultations, and we can definitely peel some of these layers back. Peace and blessings. Thanks for giving me your listening ear.
There's nothing